Okay.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to Talk to Me Africa. Today, I have a very special guest from West Africa as well. I am from Cameroon. I think you're from Liberia, right, Edwin?
I am. I'm from Liberia.
Yes.
Proud LIB.
Yes. Welcome to Liberia. Welcome to Talk to Me Africa. Wow. So today is going to be a different kind of conversation. We're going to be outspoken. We're going to be opinionated. We're not going to hold back anything that we talk about on the show today. So if you're joining us, thank you. If you have questions, if you have opinions about the things we talk about, please feel free to join us. So welcome to Talk to Me Africa, Edwin J. Meyer.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm glad that you want to share space with me. So I said thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on Talk to Africa. I am super excited and I can't wait to get into this conversation.
Thank you. I love your outfit. I
Oh,
love you. Look like one gentleman who takes good care of his skin. You look really good. That
oh,
you took time to be here on Talk to
I
Me
have
Africa. I
I
appreciate
think
that.
if we're representing the people, we got to represent them well.
We really have to. Yes, thank you. Let me introduce you to my guest. Let me introduce to my to my audience. Sorry, Edwin. So you are host of a podcast that is called The Conversation, Outspoken and Opinionated, where you engage in thought-provoking discussions on critical social issues, including race, education, health, and culture, as well as pop culture and a lot more. You are also a graduate of medical, you are a graduate medical education administrator, as
Right.
well as a medical school lecturer.
Mhm.
Wow. Are you a medical professional or just a medical instructor?
So I am a professor at the medical school. I'm a lecturer. I like to say I am a lecturer because there are just specific courses that I
Okay.
teach. So
Okay.
I don't have a medical degree. I don't have any clinical license. I don't have any clinical. I have some clinical knowledge because I've taught procedures and processes when it comes to medical school. We can talk about another time. But I'm not a doctor. But I teach a class called Race in Medicine.
Race in medicine.
Race
Perfect.
in Medicine, we
We will
teach.
talk about race in medicine in the course of the discussion today. But before I start,
Mhm.
let's hear a fun fact about Edwin. Something people don't know about you.
Well, a lot of things people don't know about me is that I am the grandson of previous president of Liberia.
Ellen,
No,
just
his Edwin J. Barkley.
Edwin J. Barkley.
Yes, so my name is Edwin. I was named after my grandfather. So my mom is first daughter. I like to tease her, bro. We don't talk about that. We don't share that a lot, and that's like a fun fact. It's like a fact, but we don't
It
talk
is
about
a fun fact. Yes.
it.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm here. I'm in the presence of royalty here today.
Come to my house, so.
Oh, don't go knocking on his door. You know, the royalty that we experience in Africa is different from the royalty that we experience in America. I had a guest on my show who had a friend who came from a royal family, and they were shocked to see how this person could not pay for all their books sometimes and how they didn't live like they were that wealthy. I'm like, well, but if you were back home, trust me, it would be a different,
Exactly.
social status that he would have. So I get you. Let's keep that as a fun fact, and we're not going to come to your house.
Oh,
All right, let me start by asking you this. Why did you start a podcast and you call it The Conversation, Outspoken, Opinionated? Why?
so, years ago, I went through therapy, and
Mm.
one of the issues that I was going through was I was always told that I talk too much,
Mm.
always have something to say. So in therapy, my therapist said, no, you are outspoken and you are opinionated. That's
There
all,
you go.
nothing
Mhm.
wrong with you. And then I love conversations. And so years ago, when I don't know if you remember the whole George Floyd incident happened,
Yep. Uh-huh. Minnesota.
I
Mhm.
started having conversation with friends. I have friends who are directly from Africa, and I have friends who are African Americans. And these conversations led into the space where my African friends didn't feel that that was their problem. They were not joining the protests. They didn't care what my African American friends was like. We're all black. Like when they see us, they see us.
Yeah.
So through that, I started the conversation,
Mhm.
outspoken and opinionated, where people, my friends and people could come together and we could talk freely. If
Mhm.
someone say that That's not my problem. We can respect their opinion, but we also need to understand why they say that is not their problem. And
Mhm.
so that's how this podcast was birthed, and we've been running for the last 7 seasons.
Yeah, it is our problem. It's funny you mentioned the word when they see us. When they see us, the series that's on Netflix, if you've seen it,
Yes.
I couldn't watch it because it's so hard. Now you could say I am not African American, it is not my problem. But being black, I watched it and having a son,
Hmm.
and I just got a little bit of, I don't want to say trauma, but I couldn't continue. So
Yeah.
when they see you, they don't care if you're African
Mhm.
or if you're African American because they see you from your skin.
Yes.
They see you from your skin to start with. So did you also face that not an issue, but the realization that you come to America, you go, oh, I'm black. Because in Africa, you're Liberian, I'm Cameroonian, we're all Africans. We don't talk skin color, we
No.
talk cultures. We
Yeah.
have different cultural ethnic groups. So did you also face something like that? You had to explain.
So I always say that every time I've been interviewed, people ask this question. I say, the funny thing is the first time I realized I was black was when I came to America.
Exactly.
Growing up in Liberia and being in Liberia, I was around black people. The people we consider to be white people was Lebanese people or people from those, from other countries that were tech. So when I got here, I was like, oh, I'm black. Also, there are things, and I'm not trying to say in like a negative way for me. I know I'm black. I
Mm-hmm,
understand I'm black. I embrace my blackness. I
mm-hmm,
embrace my culture. I have a darker skin tone. I accept it. But I'm
mm-hmm,
also aware that because I'm black, there are things that I have to do. There are circumstances that are going to happen in my life that because I am black, I have to attend to those situations differently than a
mm-hmm,
person who is maybe lighter skinned than me, even in the same race
mm-hmm.
or a different race. So I have understood that yes, I'm black and I accept I love myself, I love my skin color, but I'm also aware of the circumstances around me being a black man living in America.
Absolutely. You have to come to that realization because growing up in Cameroon, all I knew was that, okay, we have English and French. And from the English part, okay, that's one that defines me as a Cameroonian apart from other Cameroonians. And then you have your ethnic group, and then you have your own different cultural language. But
Mhm.
talking about the skin and putting you in the black category wasn't a thing until we came to America. And I think that saying that we're not, it's not my problem because it's African American problem. No, it is your problem because guess what? When you go to fill out a form at hospital or wherever, what do they say? Black or African
That's it.
American. They don't
That's
say Africans or African Americans. So we are all together. It is our problem. Let's all look at it that way. All
it.
right. And it's because you're so opinionated and you mentioned your culture. I was talking to somebody recently who said that African culture is being diluted quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I thought about asking you about traditional African marriages. People
Mhm.
are saying that if you get married in the African culture, you pay the bride price. That's not enough. You have to go get a white wedding done. As somebody who is outspoken and opinionated, what do you think about African traditional marriages? Should we end there or should we go the long mile of going to the churches and celebrating to know that we're married?
So first, I'm gonna say this. This is my opinion. So I don't
Mhm.
want people to. I don't want you to backlash me and
Nah, don't buy.
put me in the comment section. But first of all, I would say that this question is very important. These are conversations that I have with friends, and I can
Mhm.
only relate and answer this question as a Liberian. So I want
Yeah.
people to first understand that. So for me, to each his own. African traditional marriage, because it's deeply rooted in culture, spirituality, family, and sexual honor,
Mhm.
you have to complete that right as an African person and based on your culture. I think every person who is deeply rooted in their culture from whatever country they're from in Africa needs to go by the tradition because that's us. That what defines us, that's who we are, and there is nothing you can do about it. And it carries, I don't know, for me, it carries a lot of weight. It carries a lot of meaning.
It does.
Like I said, I'm Liberian. Liberians, we don't have that kind of deep culture. And I'll just be honest and say it. We don't have that kind of deep culture. So most of the Liberians the people I normally hear people say Liberians, they are small America.
Mhm. I've heard that.
Yes, that's the thing. We don't have that much culture. We do have traditions in Liberia, but we don't have that thing where, it's if you are getting married, you have to go back to your father's land. Your who wants to marry you have to go to your uncles. They have to sit down. They have to break bread. You have to tell these people why you want these people's daughter. When you take her, this you have taken her from her father's house. The way you're taking her, you are not responsible for her. You have to take care of her. When she bear these children they are still her father's children. You know that culture that we have. A lot of Liberians, we really don't have that. So you will see a lot of Liberians now were emulating what the other Africans do. We don't do, I go to Liberian weddings, I see they do Ashabi. I said, we don't do that. That's not a Liberian thing. We don't do stuff like that. We do the palm wine. We do the
Red price pay,
kola
you give
nuts. We do the
kola
bed.
nut.
Whatever. But to get back to it, white wedding is fine. Those I feel like if you want to do traditional wedding, go for it. If you want to do white wedding, go for it. But I think where it gets conflicting for me, and this is my personal opinion, is when somebody do traditional wedding, then from there they go and do white wedding. Then I'm like, okay, so which one stands? Because we also need to understand that the whole white wedding, which is the Christian thing, is also a cultural thing. So before I like to say it this way, sorry people, before the white men brought
Oh, yeah.
Christianity to
To
our,
Africa.
what were they doing?
Mhm.
What were they doing? So if you think you can do this, but you also have to do this, I don't know for me. I feel like if you're gonna do tradition, do tradition. If you're gonna do white, do white. Because to each his own. But the key for me is your intention.
Mhm.
Why are you doing this? Are you doing this
Good.
because you just want to show off and because you have the money, so you want to have the 3 days wedding, or you're doing it because you know you're rooted in your tradition, you're rooted in your culture, and you say, you know what, this is what I want to do. And so that's why I say everybody do what they want to do. But I love it when when I go to
Yeah.
traditional.
Yeah.
I love it. It's amazing. I love the culture because, like I said, in Liberia, we really don't have like the kind of culture like I would say Cameroonians have, Nigerians have, Ghanaians have, and I've been to Ivorian weddings. I mean, it's rooted in like
Mm.
the jewelry they wear, the fabric that they have. Like it's very, very serious. And so
Mhm.
I would
Mhm.
just say traditional weddings for me are enough. But if a couple wants to do both, that's fine with them. If they
That's
want
fine
to do
with
both,
them.
that's fine with them. For me,
Yeah.
I did the white wedding, and if I do it again, I think I'm just gonna run down to the courthouse and solve this problem. I don't think that would be it.
I like what you said. I think that traditional wedding is the most important. And if you feel like, because I'm saying this because people feel like they're not married until they go to the church and get married in the church. I want to say it's my opinion also that if you marry traditionally, then you're married.
Yeah.
If you feel like you have to go to the church because of your beliefs, that's fine. But don't feel like you're not married because you didn't go to the church. Because your forefathers didn't go to the church, but they were married. And
Yeah.
that's how you came into being. And now, Edu, you mentioned the word culture quite a bit here.
Mhm.
People have said that African Americans don't have culture. What's your take on that?
And I think that's wrong. They have a culture.
They do.
Their hip hop is their culture.
Mhm.
They're jumping the broom doing their weddings are
Culture.
the
Yeah.
culture. The
Hmm.
music that they play, like I said, the hip hop, if you go to like California, go to Compton, go to
Hmm.
places they when they bounce in the cars,
Yeah.
or the way the dress is a culture, the
Hmm.
way they do their hair is a culture. They have culture. But they have
Hmm.
but if you're somebody who will try to understand the African
Hmm.
American and understand the culture, you will understand that their culture is also tied into race. It's
Yes.
also tied into racism. It's also tied into slavery. So when you
Hmm.
say they don't, I think that is very wrong
It
because
is.
what it is, they have a culture because they have
Yes.
traditions that have brought them to where they are right now.
That's right. And if you take the simple fact that a culture could be the way of life of a people, their
Yes.
way of life is their culture. You can't bring yours and impose it onto them and say you have to do like this for you to have a culture. No, 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 no. Yeah, I love the way you answer that. And about the culture thing again, some of us Africans, when we come to America, we stop speaking our cultural languages. Even if we can speak them. Worst of all, I've heard people say, "Don't teach my child that language. Teach them English. We're in America." What is your take on that? As somebody who's very outspoken.
So I'm gonna be very transparent, right? Liberia has 16 different languages, right? I don't know any. I don't know one. I wouldn't know English. My father is from the Lofa County. He's from the Kisi tribe. My father speak it, all his sisters speak it, the whole family speak it. Me and my siblings, we don't speak one. And it really dawned to me when I came to America, most of my friends were Nigerians. They speak their language. It doesn't matter how affluent they are, who they are, like and then when you go, when I have friends who are francophone, they're from Ivory Coast or Guinea or Cameroon, they speak French or they speak whatever dialect they're from.
Mm-hmm.
When people who don't want to associate with where they're from, I have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you Liberian and you speak one of our tribes, let's say you speak the Kru tribe, but you come to America now, I knew friends like that. I'm sorry, but I want to talk this. I have friends because I did 12th grade here who used to say they're from Jamaica because they didn't want to be associated with Africans.
But they're from Liberia.
They're from Liberia who hear the accent. When they talk, I say, which Jamaica you're from? Which one? Because the one that you are giving right now is Liberia, Jamaica, and we don't have Jamaica in Liberia. So I think it's an empowering moment when a young kid can understand the dialect and he can verse with his
Yeah.
grandparents. You saw
Mm-hmm.
like my son don't speak it. My mom is from the American Liberian, so they
Mm-hmm.
speak English. So they call them the Congo people. But my dad, who's from Lofa, we don't speak the tribe. My son would I said maybe I guess he might be teaching me, but he will never get that experience. So I think it is important, even though English is first in my country, because that's our first language and it breaks down into the other languages. I wish we were taught that. And everybody who's listening to this or whoever listen to it, if you're from wherever you're from and you have a specific dialect that is unique to you, teach
Yeah.
it to your kids.
Yeah.
Because we have Liberian broken English, where like pidgin.
Mm-hmm. We
That thing
have pidgin. Yeah.
that thing is so unique. If I
It
walk into
is unique. Yeah.
and I can hear a Liberian person from all the way in the back, if they say something Liberian English, I say, some Liberian person here, we start looking, my man, how are you? How you doing? Like
I do, my man. What you been doing all day now? We can talk and talk to the name money.
it's
I love it.
so I think when people who don't, I'm like, you lost case. I don't interact with people like that because I'm like, what you are looking for, you'll never find it. So I leave you alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I love it. Let me see. So on Facebook, Ngale Jojo says that the first issue is labeling traditional wedding,
Uh-huh.
church, religious, or white wedding. And he says, even in Jesus's day, there was nothing of that sort. Marriage has always been the merging of two families. I
That's it.
agree. We're labeling it. And so you feel like because I didn't go to church, I'm not married, but I'm married in the traditional way. And then we seem to look low on that traditional marriage because it is just, look, what I do also is I do emceeing for events.
Mhm.
I had an event to MC. It was a traditional wedding, that's we say, traditional wedding, cultural wedding. I think it's better to say that way.
Yeah.
African cultural wedding. And one of my friends were like, I'm not coming. I said, why? Oh, because it's not church.
Okay.
And I said, what do you mean? It's not church. It's a wedding. And this friend did not show up. I felt so bad because this is, for me, somebody who is losing, like you say, who they are. You're looking for something you don't have and you're not going to find. I feel the most dressed up when I have something African on me, like you have right now. I
And
feel the most unique when I have something African on me. I try to even put like earrings with some African looking stuff on them because that is something that I own. I can speak to. I
yes.
can claim that I desire. You cannot take it away from me. Because this English, Edwin, there was a time when, I'm sure you can also relate to this. There was a time when you speak English, you make me say you feel bad.
Yeah.
Today, when I speak English, I'm making me say, I don't feel bad. I'm like, that's not my language. I don't know why they say, is it mouse or mices or mouse that you use majority? I don't know. And I do not care. Because back in the day, when you speak English in the classroom, you make an error, your classmates laugh at you, your teachers laugh at you, and you are in Africa. As an African, then they're laughing at you for not being able to speak a foreign language. So today, when I speak English, and I say something that's not right, I do not cry about it. I just say, oh, I meant to say this or whatever. Hmm?
And back to that person who decided not to come to a wedding because it was not in the church. That person need to go back and read their Bible.
I tell
And
you,
you read your Bible, you understand that you are the church.
you are the church here.
Wherever you walk, wherever you go, is the church. The church is not the four walls. So if these people love each other and they want to do whatever they want to do to bring the two families together, you don't have to show up.
Yeah.
It's what they want, and that's the other thing. It's what they want to do.
Mhm.
And so if you aren't okay with it, that's fine. Like I always like to say this, before the white man brought the Christianity to our people in the villages, what were they doing? I like to say this, and people be like, "Oh, you're trying to be controversial." No, I'm not being controversial. I'm asking you a question because if you haven't studied your own heritage to know where you are from and what your people used to do, this person came and just told you, said, this is the way, this is how you're supposed to do it. Now you want to give up everything, the little thing that you have to hold on to for this identity, you are giving it away because, oh, it's not in the church. Okay, well, let's see. Because I said, and another thing I said, in my family, I have an uncle and an aunt. They've been together my whole life. They never went to church to get married. I've been together my whole life. They have kids. They have an older daughter who I think she's in her 50s. They have grown kids. They have been together. That is the best relationship I've seen in my life. They haven't done those big wedding things to know. They have been together, they've been each other companion, they love each other, they respect each other. He knows that he took this people's daughter from her family, he had kids with her. So it's that for me, it's just like nope, they didn't have to do anything. They love each other. And at this point of time in Liberia, we call it common law marriage. If you are together for more than 10 years, you are common law. We don't.
Even in Cameroon, yeah, it's
Yeah.
common law. It's
You know,
acknowledged.
like I think for me, marriage is how you make it. It's everybody relationship has
The
the end.
coming together of two families, which is, I think what, let me read one more from online here. And Ngale Jojo says, all the patterns of marriage as depicted in scripture that I'm aware of doesn't portray anything that even insinuates some religious aspect in it. There you go.
And that's it. There is
Yeah.
nothing and if we talk about the first miracle that Jesus did, and he turned water into wine was at a
At a
wedding, right?
wedding.
Did they talk about the bride came down in the aisle in a white dress? And did they do no? They were at the party. So that means they were
There was
partying, having fun. And the wine finished. The mother of Jesus said, look, I want to paraphrase. I was speaking like me. The mother said, look, go to my son. Ain't see that man over there. Go to him and tell him, say the wine is finished. And his mother needs to be turned up. And when he made the best wine, when the people took it, the people said, but why would that man wait for the good wine to bring at the end of the party when we have already tired? So you imagine when he brought out good wine, I know the party revamped again and it went to the after party of the after party. But I'm just to say that since we're, everybody wants to stick to the Bible, let's go back. And like that person said, where somebody need to show me the scripture that said you have to be in a church, you have to have a procession, you have to have 50 people, so 50 people, so you have to have a pastor to come and bring Bible and read scripture and do a whole preaching. That's the part that can even piss me off. They have a whole so many people weddings. Who have time for that? But anyway, I would digress. As you can see, I get very passionate about that.
You do. You do. I mean, to wrap up this topic, I want to say that when we have these African cultural weddings, we also do the prayers. We also do, the respect that we give to the parents. But I think some people are not happy with the fact that we pour libation, which is, our own African religion that we used to practice back in the day. If I believe that my grandfather is not here and I'll call his name to bless me and you bless my upcoming family, I don't see anything wrong with that. So I think that's what some people don't like. They say, oh, you pour libation during these weddings. And so it's not really of God.
But I don't want to cut you off. I was part of a church where they didn't do father and daughter dance. But they said that one of the father and daughter dance, because the father, of course, he was doing the traditional ritual with his daughter on the stage. What they do as he's about to give his daughter to this man, they stopped. They said because he was doing witchcraft or whatever. And I asked somebody, I said, what is witchcraft? What is witchcraft? They said, what are you talking? I say, you have whatever religion, whatever practice that our people did before that man brought Christianity to us. There's nothing called witchcraft. It's a tradition. This man suffer for his daughter. His daughter have come to the space now where she's about to go to somebody's house. You think you should just take a daughter and give her anyhow because we're in America? What is your like? I'm trying to understand this process. So this man should just say, oh, this man want to marry my daughter. Okay, carry and go. No.
And
Yes.
here we are eating the body and blood of Jesus Christ. That's symbolic too. Is that witchcraft?
You see that when
Because if you bring an African culture and say we're going to eat and drink somebody's blood symbolically, you'll be termed, a witch practitioner. So when you say in church that you're drinking Jesus' blood and eating his flesh, is that cannibalism?
You can't go too much, so then the bishops will come in your comments, so and they will call other folks. They will send on you. But it's just those things why I say, you know what, for me, I'm like if it's not your area, just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Some things, you just feel like this one, yeah, that's what the person wants to do. Like I said earlier, to each his own.
To each its own. Now let's get into the topic for which you are very versed with. Race and medicine is what you teach at a medical school.
Mhm.
What is race and what is medicine? How do those two get defined and come together? Let's talk about them separately to start with. What is race?
So let's talk about race. And I think for me, race is more of a social construct.
Mhm,
It's not a biological fact,
mhm,
but it was created to categorize people, to set people apart from each other. So we
mhm.
all know that. One of the clear example is our skin color. We know that plain and blank. You see a black person, you know exactly what it is. But as a Liberian, I understand how race play out differently. Like I've seen it in cross context. Like I tell somebody, we didn't do racism, but I dealt with colorism. I have a brother who's really light skinned. And because of him being light skinned, there were so many. Now that I'm older, we laugh about it. You know, we're crazy, we be laughing about it. But I saw that there were so many things that people would say, oh, he's such a handsome kid. You know, he light skinned. He just, oh, when somebody want to describe somebody looking beautiful, they will say, oh, she's beautiful. She's light skinned. She has long hair. And you're like, so now what happened to the girl with dark skin? You know, so in Liberia, our when it comes to race, like I said, we don't. It's not a race thing, but our differences are often tribal or ethnic. So my dad is from the Kisi tribe. You know, I have friends who are Gio, they're Mano. But in places like the U.S., it becomes a dominant framework, and that's why I try to let people to understand. You have to understand. In order for you to have this race conversation, you have to have the range. You first have to acknowledge that racism is here. There's a divide when it comes to race, and slavery existed. You have to have that range for me to have that conversation with you. And because it becomes a dominant framework of identity, access, and oppression, I can define race as a system designed for the privileged people to be where they're at. And then you tie it down to history, colonization, and power. And then the people who aren't privileged should be a certain space. That's how I would look at it. You know,
Okay.
where it was something that you were born with, where it's something that you step into. Um, this is the world. The world has shifted in a space where race is super important. And so for me, understanding race means understanding how structures and systems operate, not just how people look.
So how is race applicable in medicine? You teach race and medicine. How do
So
those two
my course is
merge?
called, yeah, my course is called Race in Medicine. I will give it to you like this. You have certain diseases that are prone for Black people. And a thing that I like to say all the time is representation matters. When you go to see a doctor, you probably want to, I don't know about you, but I want a Black man. I want a man who understands the African person. I want a man who know, know me, know my system, know the culture, know, he might not know the culture, but he know the issues that Black people face when it comes to healthcare. And I said it in the sense where there are areas where Black people are marginalized in America where they can receive certain kind of healthcare. Let's put it inner city Chicago. Inner city Chicago, it has a high rate of breast cancer in Black women. The issue is they maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, they didn't have breast cancer centers or places in Chicago. So those Black women had to travel sometimes 5, 6, 7, 8 miles just to get a mammogram. So you're talking about a woman who worked 7 hours, who worked 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, who got 3 kids, maybe have a child in daycare. She has to take off of work just for her to go get her physical. Now she got to take the public transportation. Maybe she have to walk 3, 4, 5 miles before she get a public transportation to go get a mammogram. Do you really think she's gonna take off of work and miss not paying her rent to go get a mammogram?
No.
That's how race plays in medicine. That's basically how race plays in medicine because we have to let these new doctors and nurses and clinicians understand that when you, as a Black person coming from Wisconsin and moving to DC, you're going to meet Black people. But when you go to the Washington Hospital Center, and I would just put it in a simple way, it's like in one of the predominant Black area, you're gonna meet people who don't have insurance. You're gonna meet people who only come to the emergency room because that is the only way you can get healthcare. That's the only way they can get a physical. So they go into the emergency room. You're gonna meet homeless people who come into the emergency room just to eat. But not because you're a doctor, that means you're not gonna go talk to that person. You have to see everybody.
Mhm.
But when you leave there and you go to Georgetown, where I work, you meet the affluent people, you meet the senators, you meet the highfalutin government officials, you meet all these great people, these business owners who have private insurance, who this lady will tell you, next week I'm going on vacation and I need to get my appointment to get my Botox. And you're like, ma'am, that is not an emergency. For her, it's an emergency. But you just left Washington Hospital Center that night and you had a mom who came in who has a 9-year-old who drank, or a 2-year-old who drank bleach, and she has a 9-year-old home. But she had to bring the 9-year-old with her to the emergency room. She couldn't leave in at home because she leaving at home, somebody can call CPS and can take her child away from her. But she bring this child with her in emergency when they're there for 4, 5, 6 hours. That child cannot go to school the next day because he didn't get good sleep. So you see all that structure. So we have to teach and we have to educate our clinicians on race exists and it's in medicine. Or
Yeah.
the black girl who applied to medical school and can get in. And she said, what do you mean I can't get in? How my MCAT scores are great. Why can't I get into Harvard? Well, you can't get into Harvard because the first people that can get into Harvard are the people who their parents have some association with the school, and all them people we know what color they are. In 2025, they will be telling the first black woman to graduate from this school, or the first black man. Like in 2025, the first black man just
Yeah, it should have happened before.
I'm doing. So that's how that class came about. And we started instructing, and I'm one of the lecturers in that class based on
It's bigger than I thought. Now, let me give you a scenario. Tell me if this is race and medicine or not applicable. When I moved to the state where I am a couple years ago, I had done mammogram in a different state. So I was due for mammogram. And then when my doctor gave me a referral, I called the clinic or the hospital and they said that, oh, since it's not your first time, we need to see your films. And I said, I don't have the films. They said, okay, well, you have to get them. I said, I can't get them. They said, okay, you have to call the doctor. I'm like, look, it's a big hospital. Okay. I don't have the films. I am due for mammogram. Do it for me. The woman said, well, I cannot because you have to have your films. I said, oh, okay, what if I don't have them at all? And then she told me that, well, I'm going to put a note that you don't want to get your films. And then I got angry. I said, you're going to put a note, I don't want to get my films. I said, I cannot get them. And honestly, Edwin, I had called. And you know how these things have like 800 number. You call 1-800 number, you don't know where to go to. They can't even find you. So I asked her, I said, okay, what if it was my first time doing mammogram? Would you ask me for films? Or because I'm over 40, you think I must have the previous films? Or it's not my first time? I said, look, I got so angry. I said, this is why some people get, this public issue with medical health CEOs and all that stuff. I said, please, I need to get this done because I am due. And if you say I don't want to get my films, are you saying that I'm paying for my health care, but I don't want to use the services? And she said, hold on a minute. She was gone for like 2 minutes. She came back and said, okay, I have XYZ for you available. Now, my question to you is this a thing of race and medicine? Because you can tell my accent is not American accent, number one. Number two, she's insisting that I get a film I cannot get. And then she says, I'm going to put a note that you don't want to get your film. So is it like, because I'm Black, I'm African, I don't want to get health care, or I'm being denied to an extent because of my race?
So I'm going to give you two answers to this. First, I will go with the more critical one. When you answer the phone, you have an accent, she 100% realize that what she don't even know why she want this. So she need to get, this is going to be a waste of my time. I don't have to deal with this. And then she's being difficult. So that is a word that we are educating our clinicians on words that you don't use when it comes to people of color.
They're being difficult.
They're incoherent. They are abusing the medication. They are abusing the system. When you put that in someone's record, so if she had put that in your record and say you are not agreeing, then when it goes to the doctor will treat you a different way because you have come off now as a very aggressive patient. You don't want to get your work done. So why should we waste our time to even provide the services to her? She don't want it. Do you think if Becky with the long hair had called and said, I'm just coming from Minnesota and I just moved over here and I need a mammogram? She'll say, yes, ma'am. So how can we get you in? Do you have your films? Oh, it's okay. You don't have your films, no problem. This is what's going to be. Your procedure is probably going to be a little bit longer because what we're going to do is going to do more. We're going to have to get you in, do your initial testing. And then after the testing, if the doctors see whatever, then we can call you in for an explanation of your films.
In 2025.
Mm-hmm. That's what that's what she's supposed to do because you don't have your films, you don't have your films. Another thing, if she is the hospital, she is the doctor's office. She can call your hospital and say, we have patient A, B, and C who was at your facility. Can you guys get over the films? It would be easy for her because they would be able to send her to radiology. Radiology will be able to get the information to send it over to them. But she heard your accent, and then everything changed around when she realized that you knew what you were talking about. So when you said, so do you think I'm going to pay for insurance
Yeah,
and don't use this? And when I want to
I
use this,
said that. Yeah.
yeah, oh, this is a smart one. Hold on. And then she
Mhm.
talked, but I'm giving you, this is how it happened. I'm giving you vivid clinic. Then she turned around.
Wow.
Then she turned around to her colleague. There was some check on the phone. She got her images. She trying to get a mammogram. She's like, oh yeah, she can come in. Just tell her to come in. Probably she'll just have to come in, do another film, and then the doctor check it. She probably gonna be okay because if she's doing her mammogram regularly, she probably fine. We don't know if it's been 6 months or a year. I said, okay, yeah, so we have an appointment. And then they probably gave you probably an early appointment because they want to get rid of you now. And since she messed up, so she wants butter coach you for you to feel like, oh, she did me a favor. She got me like an earlier appointment, even though they say it's going to be a year or 6 months for me to come in. So that's why we have these courses to let people know that you cannot treat anybody different because of the race, because of the gender, because of any situation. Everybody should be treated the same way. And as a clinician, your job, you took an oath to provide services to anyone, no matter what.
Hmm. I was so mad. I told her, I said, remember the CEO of United Healthcare? That's what happens to you. I was so angry. And I said, that's why people get into trouble because you're telling me I don't want to use what I pay for. And I
This,
think her taking the time off to say, hold on, she was probably catching her breath because I was angry. And when I'm angry, my accent comes out a lot more worse.
what else can you do? At that point, you were like, this one, if she was in front of me, I would have told her and her whole generation where they are from. This like, are you serious? Like, wait, ma'am. So I'm getting on the phone to call to get up. Do you think I don't want to get this? And I think that is the problem. The problem is these stereotypes and what they say about us, that's what most of these people go by. And they will just make an assumption based on what they hear, based on your accent, or based on you walking into the doctor's office, or will conclude, oh yeah, she don't even know why she here. So, and you should just make a mistake and say, oh, I don't, I have a appointment, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be on the 6th floor or the 7th floor, and I don't really know why I'm here for. Oh, you will set them off. And I don't see that many times. And I love a teaching moment. And I'll be like, so who is the practice manager here? Because most often in clinics, the person who's head of administrative of the clinic is called the practice manager. And they'll be looking at you. Yeah, who's the practice
How do
manager?
you know that? Yeah.
Hey, can I
Mhm.
see the practice manager?
Yeah.
I talk to the person. See who the
And that's true because I have a friend who is a nurse and actually a DNP, doctor in nursing practice, and her husband had a procedure one time, and they had to do a follow-up procedure. She said they mentioned something, which is like the basic examination. She said, "Oh, why not do this one?" And I said, "Oh, are you a nurse?" And she said, "Yes." So they were offering him some basic analysis. Meanwhile, there is a more intensive one that they could do. And so when she mentioned that, they go, "Okay, we'll do that one." So race does really play a negative effect in medicine because if you don't know and you're black, then you don't know and you'll be treated that way. You
and you
won't
would
be given
think
the
and you
intensive.
would think it's the norm. This is how everybody else is being treated, but no, you are being treated that way because of the color of your skin.
So would you tell somebody who doesn't really, who's not in medicine, and what should I do as a black person before I get to the hospital? What should I research about? Just the way I need to be treated.
Be your advocate.
Be your
Speak up for yourself. Don't sit there when the doctor say, hey, you need to go in and get this procedure. Why do I need this procedure? What are the risks of this procedure? If this procedure doesn't go well, what might happen to me? How can I get more information? Who can I call? Do you have the diversity council? Who do you have that can really sit down with me and break this down? Because you don't know the lingos. When they
Yeah.
talk, you gotta get find my that. You don't understand these things, but
Mhm.
you need somebody who will break it down to you and explain to you, ma'am, this is what you're gonna get. This is why you're getting this. This is why we prescribe you with this medication.
Mhm.
Those are the things so that they don't tell you. People don't ask. The doctor say, oh, go take this, you go take it. That's happened not to strangers. This happened to my mom. My
Mhm.
mom, she was on this blood pressure medication. The doctor changed her medication. She took that medication, her entire face swelled up because the medication that they gave her, it counteracted with another medication she was taking. So she had a bad allergy reaction. Do you know how many black people have that allergy reaction based on that medication. So we don't, the doctor didn't take the time. He's dealing with a black patient. But if that was a black doctor, that black doctor would know that, okay, this is a black woman. It's an African American African woman. She's black, and this medication, there's a lot of side effects when it comes to black people. So we probably should not prescribe that to her.
See, I've always looked for a doctor based on gender. I always find myself more okay with a female. Now that I've talked with you, I'm going to look for more of a race-based
It's
doctor.
sorry to say it, but and I know people, I might get people might get a backlash about it, but race plays a lot. And let's just, like I said, let's just be aware of our surroundings. Let's just be aware of where we are. We're in America. Race is important. You have to work 10 times harder than the other race to get what you have. Everything you have achieved, you have to work hard for it. Nobody hand deliver thing to you, except you are like the Sean Combs and the Jay-Z's but even those people that work
They
hard
did work hard too.
where they at right now, that their kids are able to be afforded the things that they have. But it's the 1%. It's the 1%. You, me and you, we're middle class people. We're working, we're doing our regular job, we do our little things on the side. I'm sorry, you're not gonna mess with me. You try me, you're gonna get it. And we have to be in that spirit. Yeah, why do we have to always be on the attack? Why do we always have to, I gotta make sure there's no, because that is the system. That's how the system is, and there's nothing. Can we change it? I don't know, but can we work towards so that we can educate ourselves and so we can know exactly what you said, what to do, how to ask certain questions so we can get the answers that we need, but we have to be our own advocates.
Race and medicine, a whole topic taught in medical school. This is
Yeah.
so good to know. So good to know. Now, I found out this, and I was praying for this talk with you today. I found out that race and health have a lot of disparities. Like public health data frequently shows racial disparities in areas like maternal mortality, diabetes, hypertension, and even COVID-19 impact.
Yes.
So the Black people suffer a lot more when it comes to maternal, problems, when it comes to that giving birth to children, when it comes to hypertension, even during COVID-19, they were treated differently. Now, when I read this, I also had a thought that people would say, but Black people got a lot of hand me free things from the government. Some of the aids you get was because of your race. What is your take on that? Is it because we get to the hospital, they say, okay, you're Black, you're probably here for free anyway, so I'm going to treat you differently?
The system is created in that way. So I love to get scenarios. Let's talk about Shaniqua, live in Baltimore City. She's in one of those row houses that her grandmother got in the 60s. Now she owns it after her parents died. She lives there alone. She works at McDonald's. She makes $7 an hour because she finished high school. She didn't go to college because she wasn't aware that she could go to college and get student loans or get a scholarship to go to college. So she worked at McDonald's, right? So who work at McDonald's now? What do you think she's gonna be on? She's gonna be on social services. She's gonna be on everything because she needs the help to get by. Because the system was created in a way that she always have to have her hand out. Gimme, gimme, gimme. But when you become somebody who like, oh, no, there is more out there. Why is it that this person is about to get that and I can't get that? You are living difficult. You are the one they call difficult. You are the one that said the angry Black woman. Because you're questioning, excuse me, I've been working at this front desk for the last 5 years. Nobody tried to promote me. But you got John who came over here, just got this job, and now you're gonna make him senior front desk person. How does that work? Then I said, but why is she complaining? Why is she being difficult? And you start being labeled. And I would say this. The fact that racial disparities exist in areas like maternal mortality, diabetes, hypertension, even the impact of COVID, it's not surprising to me. Is it acceptable? No. These disparities aren't caused by race itself, but it's the racism that is embedded in the system that causes this problem to affect this group of people. In 2025, you have people suffering from diabetes in America. Why? It's because those information, the system, the way the system is created, if you go into certain areas, they don't have good grocery stores. They don't have playground. They don't have places for people to walk and take exercise and all that kind of stuff. So if you go in an area 10 block area where they only have corner store, bodega, and these fast food joints, what do you think gonna be there? Everybody gonna be overweight. Everybody gonna have high blood pressure. Everybody gonna have diabetes because they don't have the right food
Mm.
and they don't have a path for them to walk and exercise. So you create that system to keep
Wow.
people down, and then they're affected by this. So I like to say, let's be clear. It's not black bodies are being broken. It's the system was created and that system is broken. You have environmental exposure, unequal access to healthcare, the implicit bias bias we'll have for another day. I mean, the way providers strategically do the medication and stuff. Ozempic. Let's talk. Some we're talking about medicine. I'm going to talk. Ozempic that is being given for people to lose weight. Do you know how long those people have been taking Ozempic? That's just now, 2024, 2025, now everybody can have access to Ozempic. That was why when we've been taking Ozempic, those soccer moms have been taking Ozempic for years. But now it become commercialized and now because all the black people jump on it, blah, 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 blah. Once they find a way to monetize something, then they spread it out to everybody else.
Mm.
And that's my opinion. Let me just say that. That is my opinion, people. It's not fact, but that is my opinion based on my own research, experiential living, and having conversations with people and seeing people. That is what I feel. That's how I feel.
So are there any advantages of being Black
Oh,
and
yeah.
accessing medicine?
Oh, yeah. The thing we don't take advantage of is the fact that, first of all, together we stand, divided we fall.
That's right.
As Black people, we have always been struggling, not struggling in a bad way. We always fight for what we want. We're a strong-minded people. If you get up and say you want to do this, you go ahead and do it. We don't do that, oh, because I woke up today and I don't like the way the sun is shining, so I'm going to sleep in. You have children to feed. You are going to work. So the advantages of who we are as a culture or who we are as a people give us the upper hand to be strong. Also, there are opportunities out there. There are schools, there are organizations, there are fraternities, sororities, there are even hospitals that will, I know now, I'm sorry, the administration is breaking down DEI and diversity and all that kind of stuff.
We will get there.
But there are still places that
Yeah.
are willing to provide these services to people of color because they have realized that there is a system that was created so that we cannot get to where we want.
That's right.
But are there disadvantages? Yeah. Are there more disadvantages than advantages? Yes, but we have advantages. We have
Mm.
overcome. We have seen the Bob Johnsons, we have seen the Beyonce, we have seen the Jay-Z, we have seen the Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, we have seen the Oprah. We have
seen Edwin, you're teaching about race and medicine. I did not know that
so
such a thing exists.
do you know what it means for a Black boy from Liberia to be teaching?
Yeah, race and medicine.
And I don't have a medical degree, and I'm teaching in a classroom, and I have these students who call me professor, call me Mr. Ed. Like, do you know what? Don't, and that's the thing, you don't take stuff like that lightly. Do you know what it means to walk into a space and you're the only Black person, and somebody can say, oh, oh, and then you say, so where did you go to school? And I'm like, oh, I went to University of Maryland. Oh, but I went to school in Liberia. Oh, yeah, that's why you study in Africa. Yeah, yep. I don't get that before. I don't sit in rooms where they say, oh, yeah, oh, you from Africa? Oh, yeah, that's you different.
So they would discount your study in the University of Maryland and associate you with some school in Liberia because they want to minimize your intelligence.
I am from Africa, and so it's a different thing. So I come with and people, so that's why I said that is why we have to work harder. We cannot be complicit.
And
together, like I said, united we stand, divided we fall. We cannot be against each other. When you started, you talked about, when I talked to how I started the podcast, African American, Cuban, we are all the same people. When we go in spaces, they look at you Black, they look at me Black. They see us coming, they say, that's a Black man coming. And that's it. They don't care whether you were born here or you were not born here. So we have to get to those in the spaces where we can work together. We don't need to be against each other. And before I stop this rant, when you go in rooms, you will see the white people, they are always together. I don't care what you say. Jane will always be with Martha, and Jane and Martha will be talking. Johnny and Billy will be fine. They will be hanging out. It will be cool. We the one by the time we get there now, we want to take territory. So you start trying to figure out why the other, oh, why she sent me that email? Why he looking at me like that? And that's what they create. They create that thing so we can always have a strife because they know together we can make wonders.
So your class, race and medicine, or is it race in medicine? Sorry.
In medicine, yeah.
Race
In medicine.
Race in medicine. What is the racial makeup of your class? Is it more taken by Black people or is it diverse?
It's mostly taken by white students, white medical students. It's the
No way.
mostly taking, and it's a whole process. So the students, they were first introduced to the African American Museum. They go to social justice programs, so get into the community and do community work. We have a book that they have to read. We discuss the book. It's called Feta Inventions, that talk about, there's a part in the book where there's this Nigerian lady, Chinwe, I forgot her name. She's a poet, but she talks about her experience as a Nigerian in America going to college. And the
Amanda Ngozi.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
use that clip to start up the class. But my class is mostly, I have a lot of Asians. I will have like one or two Black people, but my class is mostly white students. And the funny part is there are students in my class who've never interacted with Black people. It's the first time when it came to DC. Yeah, yeah. They're from Nevada, or they're from somewhere in the mountains over there. And there's this, and the funny thing is, the people that I've seen have experienced most racial slur or racial incidents are my Asian students. The Black students be like, oh yeah, he said this. I don't even figure that. I don't even care about that. That's fine. Let's just move on. That's who they are. But the Asian children, they were like, I have this one girl who gave me an account of what happened to her and how horrible it was, where her neighbor wrote a letter and pasted it on her apartment door, calling her all kinds of, and that was during COVID. How she brought COVID to the building, and she would do that and do the other. She used to call her all kinds of names. And she didn't understand because she grew up in California around all the white people. She always thought she was a white girl. So then that's another thing. And then I talk about the kids who are biracial. So that's a whole different structure. That's a whole different conversation where when they go into the white era, they don't fit in. When they go into the Black era, they don't fit in. Or they're Asian white. So in one era, they're minority. In another era, they're majority. So that's why in medicine it's important that you have these race conversations. You let these, because they are the people that are going to be working on patients. And when someone's sick, it don't matter what the race is. But you have to know how to do. You have to have the space to understand that when you go see Mamandu wife cannot be talking. Mamandu wife don't speak for herself. Mamandu speaks for his wife. So when you go into the room and we are trained, clinicians are trained to speak to their patient. But because of their culture, you as a male doctor cannot talk directly to this man's wife, even though she is the patient. You talk to Mamandu, Mamandu give you the answer, Mamandu talk to your wife talk to him, and he talk to you. So you have to let our medical people understand that you are going to meet different culture. You're going to meet different people. How do you address them? How do you deal with that? And so that's why I feel race in medicine is a crucial conversation in
It
classroom.
is.
I'm so glad that we are not the only one. There are a lot of medical schools around the country that are also involving diversity and all that kind of stuff into their curriculum as well.
All right. Talking about diversity, DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's been in America for so long, but I think it got now to the forefront because the current president got elected, and it felt like because he got elected and he brought this three-letter word out there, and people think, oh, it's something new. DEI in medicine, a certain medical, what's the word I'm looking for? Certain medical needs more available to people based on their race.
I will start off with this. First, I want to put out there, and I'm saying this, and I will say this, and I stand 10 toes down on it. DEI wasn't created for Black people. DEI was created for white women.
I heard that more white men benefited from that than Black people. So why is it seem to be targeting Black people?
Because that's what they do. They create these systems for you to think that it was brought for you.
It wasn't for you.
DEI was for white women to assimilate the workforce. That's what it was. That's why it was created. That is why if you look how many people have been affected by diversity in programs have been white women. Black people, we have always been working hard. We don't need handouts. We work hard to get what we have. So when somebody get up and say that, oh, well, you just passing people because of DEI. No. If you go and look at their records, they have that job because they were qualified. But what we saw was that if you have two people who are qualified for a job, one person is white, one person is black, they would choose a white man over based on his race. It
Yeah.
was not qualification. So diversity, equity, and inclusion made you to think like, no, if you have two people who are this have the same qualification, the same experiences, but one is white, one is black, look at your infrastructure in your company. See how many black people you have in your company. And do you need to assimilate and bring more black people into the system? That is why DI helped us because now we had opportunities to be a part of the boards, be in the C-suite, to be a CEO and a CFO. That's what it is. But mostly that was to bring white women into spaces because just Google randomly and just Google companies and see. You will have one black man, you have like 3 white women, you have all white men. And
Now
all the
I'm picturing my company organizational structure in my head.
they will have you there. I'm not saying they will not have you there. You will be there. You'll probably be like vice president for human resources, IT, but our CFO, the CMO, they were, they were divided among themselves. Am I being biased sometimes? Yes, I am being biased because I think sometimes that's how it is. But, and like I said, I'm aware. I am aware. I know I'm black. I love myself being black, but I'm aware that because I'm black, these are issues that I have to struggle with, deal with.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack when it comes to this DEI because, again, it seems to have targeted not only Black people, but also Black immigrants. Because I feel like because you're Black, you're immigrant, you come to America, you just get stuck because you're Black. And that's what DEI was doing. And so when anything goes wrong, it's because those people were here and they did this, and it's because of them that this happened. But it's good to know that the white women benefited more from DEI than any other group of persons.
Because now that they're saying, oh, if you go, let's say they're doing a shelter. If you go to the shelter, all these black men are there. This shelter has always been here. Why is it that's now because they are passed? Now you are giving these black men access to the shelter. The shelter has been here. The shelter is not new. It's not new. It's not like a new edifice. Like, it's been here. But guess what? You guys are shutting them out because you didn't think that they needed to be here because you are having your people to be here. But now that your company has brought in this program to let you know that you cannot be discriminatory against people because of their race, and because the government was backing it up, because they were checking boxes to get money, let's not forget about that. Like I think I said a couple of questions ago, once it becomes a monetization issue, then we get it.
Then we get it. Yeah.
People get it. Like marijuana, and marijuana now is legal. That's guess why they're making money from it. Before we were the one going to jail because of marijuana, even though they smoke more marijuana than us. Just saying. Y'all don't quote me on it. But I'm just saying, I just feel is that this is how the world is. This is the country we're in. This is the country we've decided to be a part of. And we just have to be aware as Black people that you have to work harder. Sorry. I'm sorry that you have to, but you have to. Because the system, people will say, oh, no, the system is created in a way for you to be somewhere and the other people be another place.
So is it fair to say that race is not the root cause of health disparities in medicine, but racism is?
Yeah, 100%. Race is not an issue, not because you're Black that means you're going to get diabetes. No. It's because you're Black and you live in a marginalized area and you live in an area that has been redlined. So you are more prone to get diabetes. That's what it is. It's not because you're Black. No, mortality, infant mortality, doesn't mean because she's a Black woman that means she's going to have issues after giving birth. No, it's because she's a Black woman who don't have access to great health care, and that's why she's having issues after she's had this baby. That's all it is.
Let me read what Dr. Mercy has put here online. She says diversity, inclusion, cultural sensitivity. That's interesting. Yeah, there's cultural sensitivity in it. And she also says conscious biases that may seem silent over time. Or I think that's what she's adding to that sentence. But yeah, as a Black person, sometimes I walk on my toes and I look around me and I say, okay, what is going on? So what I have done in my space, like at work, is I begin I have started telling people that I'm Black. In case you don't see me, I see myself. For example, they were doing some reorganization of spaces at work, and so I moved from where I used to sit and sat somewhere, and then again I moved again to somewhere else, and somebody said, "Oh, I've been looking for you. Where are you?" I go, "Well, they keep moving me around because I'm Black." And he goes, "What?" Like, and to be honest, I am the only Black person on that floor. So what do you want me to say?
So how can I conclude that? What do you want me to say? I'm moving around because they just like to see me walking up and down and move, changing spaces? No.
Should I go? Duh, because you can't tell me. I know, so
And
duh.
like the person said, let's just call a thing a thing. Let's
Yeah,
just, and that's what I say. In order for us,
diversity, inclusion, and cultural sensitivity.
in order for have us to have these conversations that we're having, you have to have the range. You have to accept that racism exists and slavery was here. You have to understand that modern day slavery is systematic racism. That's what it is. That's what we are going through right now. We'll go through it. That is why you have somebody who is at the highest office can call a whole continent shithole.
Yep.
Excuse me. It's because that's what the system is. That's what they're used to. They don't think that's a bad thing. Oh, I was wrong. And you were like, sir, how you gonna say that? But, it's because that's how they moved in life. Nobody, no check and balances. And so it's unfortunate, but I would really hope that a lot of us will get to the space where we are aware that this is here. We have to come together to conquer this. You can be like, oh, I just want to know, man, I'm fine. You know, I've got my little job. I go to my job. I'm fine. My children is okay. You will be very surprised that because Mary who live across the street is affected, you are going to get affected one day because your son or your daughter is going to be working with Mary's son or daughter, and they're going to be working in the park, and they're going to be, and somebody can attack the other kid, but because your kid is associated with them, he can get affected too. So
Yeah.
it's never be
Yeah.
their problem. It's not mine.
Yeah. I agree. It's all our problems. Wow. It's been such a beautiful conversation. I want to stop with one thing I saw on your social media platform, which you posted. You acknowledge some fundamental truth here, and you say racism does exist. Racism is not in some distant past. It is not an abstract idea, but it is a daily reality that continues to marginalize and impact people of color in terrible ways. Now, do you think that people are still oblivious and still deny the fact that racism did exist and it is still here?
100%. I was just in a class in my church that's called we're having a class that's talk about race in church and stuff like that. And somebody said this white girl said, you know, she don't see color. I had the whole class.
People say that I don't like it.
The whole class, I had to say, I told her, I said, I'm going to say this to you, and I hope you don't, you know, you don't think I'm being disrespectful. I said, but how can you sit here as a white woman and say you don't see race? I said, if you don't see race, you don't see me. When I walk into this room, the first thing you saw was a black man. Then you get to know me and you see the other sides of me. I said, so when you say that to a black person that you don't see race, you don't see them. You basically eliminating them from
Their
this.
existence.
So there are, and I'm not saying, and I don't think she's racist. I don't
No,
I don't think she's racist.
it's the way they articulate
And the
it.
way how she articulate that
Yeah.
she is not a racist is because she doesn't see color.
No.
Is because as I told her, I said, maybe this is what you could have said. You don't think that there segregation. You think that everybody is equal, and you know you don't think that you are better than a black person. I said find ways. Because I ain't here to educate you on that because it's 2025. Girl. Google the shit, you will figure it out. Like seriously, but that's me. And so yeah, I'm like, yeah, I've met people, I've had conversation with people who feel that racism and slavery doesn't exist. It's oh, why are they angry? Why are they so angry? Why what do you mean by slavery? Who did that? I didn't do that. Why should I be responsible for what my forefathers did? I said nobody said you should be responsible for what forefathers did, but you need to
It.
accept that it existed.
Yeah.
Accept
That's
that
what your post say. Your post said acknowledging.
acknowledge, and that's
Yeah.
the first, like even with any issue when you have with somebody,
Acknowledge it.
acknowledge that what this person is saying, there's some truth in it. It's
Yeah.
fact. Like we say, somebody they will say, oh, the biggest atrocity that happened is the Holocaust. No, the Holocaust was the biggest atrocity that was filmed. It was filmed so you can see it. I said, but the biggest atrocity that happened in mankind was slavery.
Slavery. Yeah.
We are still telling our stories
Yeah.
up to today. There was some new movie will come out when that whole Wakanda thing came up and everybody jumping. I was so offended. I will be honest with you. I was so
You
offended.
don't want to go into Wakanda because I think it is not, you know what? Yeah, I'm glad you have that mindset. Don't even go there.
That is
I
not.
didn't get the hype about Wakanda.
So that you right. Let me leave it because them.
Yeah, leave it at that. I'm sure we have the same thoughts about Wakanda.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave
But
it. No,
yes,
no, leave it
but
at that.
it's the thing where I feel it's just like I said, we have to be intentional in everything that we do. We
We
have to
have to be.
be whatever we put out there as our Black people, who we are, Africans, or wherever you're from, person of color. Be intentional of what you do. Be intentional of what you say. Be out there, educate people, give the right information so our people who don't have the privilege, some of us we are privileged. Let's be honest, we are privileged. There are certain access that we have that there are people who our skin color will not have access to that. But
Right.
if we can educate them and bring them in so they can have that access, it's like they say, when somebody open door for you, open door for other people. Don't just go in.
Exactly.
No, we don't
Yeah.
want you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just
Bring them in. You know, sometimes you hear somebody says, I'm the only Black person in my company, and they feel proud about it. You shouldn't be. Look for ways to bring other Black people. Why are you the only one? Doesn't make you special. You're used as a trump card for some purpose.
You
You're
are
being played
check.
around.
You
Yeah.
are check
You're a
mark.
check mark. Yeah.
To have a Black person, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what. And those are the people where when they're having those meetings, then they'll turn around to you. So, what do you think about this diversity thing? Then my side can turn around and look away. I said, why am I being asked that question? Why don't you ask somebody else? I said, because I'm Black. And they'll be like, oh no. We just thought that your opinion would be. Also, my opinion doesn't matter only when it comes to race things.
Yeah.
So you see, like we have to open doors, and I'm super excited, happy when I meet people who are doing things in Africa, they're doing things here, and they're opening doors so other people. They're like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Like me and you here today, you're doing this thing. That they say, hey, can anybody jump up? Say, yeah, I want to be there. I bring somebody
That's how I
else.
got you on here.
But
Yeah.
you sound like I know a couple of people who need to get their music on the radio and me connect. No, that's what we need to do because that is our response. If I have an opportunity to go somewhere, I'm like, so how many of them people I can bring? Okay, I call my cousin, call your friend, call this person, girl, we got a place to go. Let's go. Let's get in here. Because
Yeah,
that's
I
what
think it's time that we Black people start feeling uncomfortable when we sit in the boardroom and we're the only ones in there. It's not something to be proud of. It doesn't make you feel like, oh, because I know a lot, so I'm being the only one selected here. There's something that you're being used for some purpose. We should know that.
we're not saying that you're not qualified to be there.
No. Not at all.
But if you cannot tell me that you are the only Black person who's qualified to be in that space, you are not the only Black person.
No.
There should be other people like you in that space because representation matters.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, last comment I'm going to read here is that Dr. Mercy says, it seems Black people are already burdened enough to keep needing to prove themselves. Yes.
I'm sorry to say we're from Africa. No, isn't that our whole life? When your parents brag about you, they say, yeah, my son the doctor. Hey, my daughter the lawyer. Hey, have you seen my daughter married to that billionaire son? Have you heard? Sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Because, like I said earlier, this system was created in a way that you are supposed to be down. So you need to prove to them or prove to yourself or whoever
that you have to be up.
You can be up. You can measure. The same thing Mark Zuckerberg did and to create Facebook. You can do the same thing. He does. My Nigerian friend can say he doesn't have two heads.
We say in Cameroon too. When you go to school and you come back, you know how they have the ranking system. You took first in class. If you take number 50, your parents say the person who take first, they have two heads. How come?
What's about this person? I cannot be like talk show. Why do we have one Oprah? No, we can have one Oprah.
Yeah,
we can have one Oprah. One Oprah died, and then what do we do? Like I like it right now, like in Namibia, they have the female president. They have a whole female president and vice president. Well, that's it. Doesn't can only be the only African. What's the other country?
Tanzania has a female African president.
So yes, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. It's a trend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a trend, it's
Yeah.
a quick bit. It's like
Yeah.
they are going places. That's like you shouldn't be comfortable. Like I like the way how those African women who are politicians, they all come together, they do things together. They make sure that oh, you are a politician. Okay, come here. We have this thing.
Mhm.
You need to do this. We've seen it recently. I don't want to cut you off in our country where there was a Senate position open and a woman came out of nowhere and she wanted to be senator. All these Liberian women, all the Liberian women politicians, doesn't matter what party they were from, they all came together to support her because they saw that the men, because that's our own issue, we have our own gender suppression. The men who are in politics, the person who is saying that she don't need to be senator, she can be representative, but she cannot be. You don't tell this woman. So you see, it's so we have so in that one, but you have all of that. So when she said, "Why should we prove?" We are supposed to prove ourselves to let whoever know we
Yeah.
can do whatever the other person can do.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I like how you break it down. Where we come from, it has to do with gender, male and female, cultural difference and cultural groups. They come to America, we're all Black. So
Mhm.
we have to really work together and make sure that this group of people get higher.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we'll all be flat and just stay in one place.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, we have to.
Edwin, it's been such a beautiful conversation with you, and I would like to say this is not the last. Please come back to talk to me
I'll
again.
be
I'm sure
ready. I am
there's a
ready.
lot more that we can talk about.
We can talk more. We can talk more. If you want, we can do a whole special on the Wakanda situation.
We will. Let me get back to you on that because that was kind of thing. I tell you, I'm glad that somebody thinks differently. I am thinking that you're thinking what I'm thinking because look.
Like seriously.
Somebody told me, actually, I had a guest here who's African American. She's African American attorney. She said that, look, she was just coming from Kenya and she came to my show. She said that the Americans or the West are very good marketers of their own systems. And so they would make something look great to you. But when she went to Kenya, she said, wait, this is Africa that they've talked about as, whatever whole country. She said, so let's start being the marketers of our own because nobody is going to sell us to you. You have to sell yourself to them.
Who can tell your story better than you?
Nobody can tell your story better than you.
Like, sorry, they will not like me. Netflix, I don't care. They have that rich and famous African. That show.
Rich,
What is
African
that?
and famous. Yes.
I asked them,
Yes.
my friends be watching the debate. I said, no, that's not Africa. I said, Europeans built Cape Town for them. That is Europe. I said, we want to talk about if they want to make a show when they say rich and famous Africa, let them go to, if they want to, why didn't go Soweto? Why they can't go to Tanzania? Why they can't go to Uganda? Why they can't go to Kenya? Why they can't go to but they filmed that show in Cape Town because Cape Town replicates what
Yeah.
the Europeans built for them.
Mm-hmm.
You see those
I've been
people
to
on
South
that.
Africa and the roads that they show, I'm like, wait, I was in Grahamstown. It doesn't look like that.
Now one of them can even wear an African fabric in that show. You see that?
Oh, you know what? We're going
You
to
see
come back and talk more, Edwin.
natural hair. All of them have those wigs that are melting off their heads. And you're talking about you're expecting who we are. No, that is not me. That is what they want you to come and portray. We don't do that. That's not our that's their reality
We need
thing.
to do
That's
a typical African cultural and grounded.
I'm watching the show. I'm just like, so which one of the rich and famous Africans we're looking at? Because I don't see the rich and famous. Like, what are we doing? Like, you don't see this woman is not. Now I'm trying to degrade women. I'm
No, I'm
not.
not trying to say you can't wear your wig. Your wigs are good. If you're comfortable with that, it's okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Woman tying her child on the back
Yeah,
with her wrapper in the morning and she come
yeah.
to breakfast for her children. Like that's who we are. If you say you are going to give us rich and famous African, you are going to
So the
depict,
cultural richness.
show that part, show our fabrics. You have an opportunity where you have the whole world on the world stage, and you don't show your culture. You don't show anything about your culture. There is maybe one instance.
We saw the lions in the
Yeah,
safari.
they went to the safari. Seriously, y'all went to the safari. Like y'all really put the safari on this thing. So for me, that's why I'd be like, somebody, I don't know who the person is. I'm sorry, people, but somebody need to come and do some things and show stuff.
Edwin J. Meyer, the host of the podcast that is called The Conversation, outspoken and opinionated. You delivered here today. You have been outspoken and opinionated. Thank you so much for being here. And especially, he is a lecturer at a university and he teaches race in medicine. We need to know more about that. So thank you so much for enlightening us, for teaching us about race in medicine, things that we need to know when we walk into the hospital, into a clinic as a Black person. Do some research, because you're walking in there, you have a wallet, you can pay for your insurance, but you're walking in there as a Black person, and it makes a lot of difference before they even get to know you. So thank you. Thank you so much.
I would say thank you so much for having me, for this opportunity just to be here to share, to learn, to get educated as well. And for the people, who are watching, who will be watching, I say, yeah, go out there, be the best version of who you are, accept your culture, accept your traditions. This the things that make us. This is who we are. And there is nothing you can practically do about it. Because
Nothing.
yeah,
Nothing at all.
you
Now, I
can.
give you an assignment. Bring
Uh-huh.
an African proverb or a wise word or your favorite.
So this is my favorite thing, and it's from Nigeria.
Okay.
They say fish don't need umbrella.
Never heard that one.
Why?
Fish doesn't need umbrella.
It's only in the water. So that's my favorite thing. It's saying fish now, you don't need umbrella.
Love it.
That's my thing. I love
How is that applicable to our daily life?
this is you. You can do nothing about you. This is your surrounding. You are a Black person living
That's
in,
what it
but
means.
you have to
Yes.
do it. Do it. Don't come here and sit down and be my uncle so say be no vagabond and passing around here and let these people mess with you. You are you. You can't do anything. You can't change it. You are here. So make the best out of it. And
No
that's
need umbrella. Wow.
umbrella.
Love it.
What a fish would do, please.
Thank you so much. For everyone who joined us online, thank you so much. Again, I will send you some contact information. We can talk after that.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you
please
so
do.
much, my brother. Have a
Okay,
wonderful Sunday. I'll talk to you later.
do the same.
Bye
Bye.
bye.